Hello and welcome. This is Blackboard Assessment Simplified. We're going to talk today about how to create assignments and rubrics. We're going to check and review tests, question banks, and question pools. Also, discuss assessment options, and you will know how to set accommodations in your course. So, let's start with this. For assessment in Blackboard, we have a specific process that is important for you to understand. You'll need first to create the assessment. And when I'm saying assessment, could be any type of assessment available within Blackboard: tests, assignments, forms. So first create it, then make that visible to students under the deploy phase. Students will take it, submit work, use attempts, and then you'll go through the final journey of grading and review that assessment. So we're going to cover today those first two steps. That's what this webinar covers, and that's what is included under Blackboard Assessment Simplified. We're going to focus on how to create them, the different options that you have available to add content and settings, and to make sure that everything's ready for your students to go through that material. Where to start for creating assignments and tests in your Blackboard course? You'll need to click on the plus sign either on the content page or inside of a container. If you have already a folder or a learning module, you'll find the plus icon. And here you'll find the different options that you have to add content and items in your course. First option will be create, and you'll see the create item panel on your right. Through those categories, you'll find assessments, and there you just need to select the one you want to start creating. If it is a test, assignment, or form, you'll find them here. So let's start checking assignments. This is this really useful and simple assessment type that you could use to show to your students some activities that they need to go through and then come back with a submission. So we have here a list of common assignment use cases for you to evaluate various assignment types also. It is important to experiment with assignment options like different through your course, so students will be facing different skills and activities, and your course will be much more interesting to your students. Remember that learners won't be able to see the assignment until you have made it visible to students, so that's important to know. Some of those assignment types, and this is creating the same assignment through the same create option, is just what you're going to add as instruction inside that assignment. So this is how you're going to apply the assignment item that we are showing today. You can add a case study, activity, or maybe problem based learning exercises to your students. You can request essays and research papers. You can also use the group option to create group projects and request group submissions there. Maybe if you have in your course a presentation or field observations or maybe a lab work, those will be part of the type of assignments that you can create through the same item that we are going to cover right now. After you go through the process that I showed you before, plus icon, create option, and selecting assignment, you'll find this view of the panel. So you'll be able to check on some options. On the top, you'll find a default name or title. Usually is new assignment and the date and time where when you are creating this item, and it is highly recommended that you update or edit that name so the students will identify it really easy, and that title will appear also as a link in the content on your course. So it is important that the title is descriptive and that your students will easily identify, and also if they're using searching capabilities in the course, they know how to search for specific activities. Then you'll see three tabs. That's what you'll find in any assessment. In this case, for assignments, there are three tabs that we're highlighting here at the top. The first one will be content and settings. That's the default view right now that we are editing or creating this assignment. The second one will be submissions, and that's when you're ready and after you have deployed your assignment, that's where you can track the number of submissions and the students that have submitted work, and you can also go through that tab to start your grading process. Then you'll find the student activity tab. Here's where you can track if your students has opened the assignment yet or not, if they have started a draft, maybe they saved a draft there, and some other activities that they can perform. If we jump here a little bit under the instructions area, you'll be able to print assignment also. So that's another option available here for you. And then you'll find the instructions area empty for you to start adding content in it. Here we have a short example with an image and some text. You will be able to include any other media there. You'll have the full text editor or content editor. So you can add format to your text, maybe upload a file with a template for your students to fill and submit back. Also, videos that you can embed. You will be plenty of options through that editor. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend to check on the on-demand video or register for the content session. That way you'll be able to see the specific options available under that tool. Great. And at the top right, you'll find some other options. You can make that visible to students that will be deploying the assignment. You'll see the icon to auto-generate the assignment with the AI Design Assistant. That's part of other webinar topic if you're interested in that specific flow. And then you'll find assignment settings, some quick access here, and the gear icon if you want to go through more detail. If we check for assignment settings, you'll find different options. As I said before, you have some quick access, for example, to add a due date. And this is great because if you have added a due date for assessments, and in this case for assignments, that due date will be reflected in the course calendar and also under the base navigation calendar aggregated with any other due date for other courses that your students are enrolled in. So they can actually track this and they'll receive notifications on the activity tab of the base navigation tool. Also, you can access to the category for this assignment. In this case, by default will be assignment. You can change that, edit it, or also create your own categories through the gradebook. For grading, you can change the grading schema. In this example, the grading schema selected is points, and you'll be able also to edit the point value for this assignment. You'll be able to add extra tabs, check under accommodations, and even enable save assign. Those are quick access there. If you open the gear icon, you'll see some other options as multiple attempts, anonymous grading. You can set the assignment with a delegated grading, for example, if you want to reconcile determine final grade and there if there's a reconciliation needed there. You can also add time limits. You can set time limit for test too, and a timer will be visible to learners before and during the specific assessment. You'll be plenty of different setting options there. You can even add groups and create group assignments, and so each group will need to submit um, a group attempt and then they will receive the same grade. So make sure that if you already have your ultra courses and you are adding instructions under an assignment, take a look and play around with the different options available and try to go through what is available there. If you're selecting that your assignment will have multiple attempts, that's great because you're helping learners stay on track. You can also allow submissions for multiple drafts for credit or improvements. And also this enables feedback at each stage of mastery demonstration. For learners, you can also it is good for them to know that they have multiple attempts on a specific assessment. They will be able to see that when they start one, but it is important for you to clarify that on the expectations and grading policies for specific attempts. Those are defined when you are creating the assignment. So when you open the gear icon that I showed before here, you'll see under grading and submissions options, the number of attempts allowed for that assignment. You can change from 1 to 10 or unlimited attempts. After you have changed that setting, you'll be able to select the attempt to grade. If you want to grade all the attempts or just the first one, just the last one, and then how the final grade calculation for that assignment will be selected. If you are selecting all attempts to be graded, which will be the final grade, the average, the highest, or the lowest. So you'll have those options available there. That's part of the assignment settings, and then through the grading process you will be able to grade them. So you'll have number of attempts submitted that will appear next to the learner's name in that flow. Also, learners or students can view the attempt used for the final score, and you can use the attempt drop down list to view other attempts if that's something you would like to do there. Now, what if you decide to create this assignment for an offline activity? Maybe oral presentations, maybe a poster session for projects or acting performances, artwork, or face to face team building exercises. You can have panel discussions, debates, in class simulations, lots of face to face activities that maybe won't need an online submission or a submission area in the course in Blackboard for students to upload. So you'll find through the settings, through the assignment settings, that specific option for grade learner work that doesn't require online submissions. You'll see the offline submission option to select. What you'll see is that that specific assignment will have this banner. You can add instructions, but the student won't have the submission area there. They will know that this assignment will be face to face, and it is important for them because they will actually be able to see it on the course outline. They'll find that assignment under a learning module or folder so they can prepare in advance. They know that that's coming. You add a due date, and they can also track that from the calendar. So it's not just a column in the gradebook, it is an actual activity that they'll see in their journey. So this is something you can create, and also you can add a rubric to this assignment. So even if the presentation will be face to face, while they are presenting or while the learning is showing their work, you can be grading through that grading rubric associated to this assignment. So it is a great segue to move to rubrics topic here and check how and where you can create it. There are several benefits of rubrics. So with them, you can define performance criteria, you can evaluate more consistently. Students will be able to set expectations and know how they are going to be assessed, and you can provide constructive feedback through the rubric descriptions and some other areas that I'm going to show you. It is important that you explain this evaluation to learners, that you enable consistent evaluation and clear expectations, that you let them know that that's available on specific assignments. For creating those rubrics, you'll be able to create and receive an empty canvas for that, where you can define criteria, then specify the achievement levels. You can keep adding columns as achievement levels, and then add weight and grade type for those. So with that, students will be able to see it, and also you'll be able to use it for grading purposes. This is how the empty canvas will look like when you hit on create rubric, and this is a process that you can start from the gradebook or from the assignment settings. You'll find that at the bottom of the assignment settings and gradebook settings also, if you want to create one. You'll see this area to work with where you can add a title for that rubric. Again, it's important that you select properly those titles that should make sense for your students. They will be able to see that rubric name too. And then select the different rubric type that is available. You can select from percentage, where criteria must equal 100%. You can also select the rubric type as percentage range. This is flexible, and you will be able to select appropriate percentage level based on specific achievement, or points range if that's what you want to use. Then you'll see criteria in lines. So in this example, there are three default criterions. You can edit them. You'll find the pencil icon to edit them. So you change or adapt some of them, and also the weight that will have for the grading. And then on the columns, you'll find different levels of achievements. Those by default will have these names, but you'll find also the pencil icon, even a trash can if you want to delete it. So make sure that you delete with caution and purpose, and that you use the pencil icon maybe to adapt those titles more to your style, or to the institutional culture. Here in the intersection, you'll find the area to add descriptors to those levels and criterions, and also the percentage that will be applied for each criterion on each level. This is important because this will be the feedback that your students will see in terms of their achievement, and that's part of the expectation that is important to set at the beginning. So when you're ready, just click save and you'll have the rubric created. Then don't forget to add it to the assignment that you're working in. That was all about assignments. And that's our first assessment type. Now let's move to our other assessment type called test. And the big difference between assignment and tests will be adding questions. If you remember what we just said, assignments is all about instructions and specific activities for students to submit. But in the case of tests in Blackboard, that means that you are creating an assessment based on questions for the students to answer through that submission. So you'll see different question types for those tests. We have calculated formula questions, where numbers change with each learner, and the correct answer is a specific value or range. You can also add calculated numeric question that can contain text and mathematical formulas. You can use essay question that's manually graded, and the students can submit text or files as their response. You can also create fill in the blank or fill in the blanks question, so you can create multiple blanks if that's what you want. And the response types will be exact match, contain match, or match a pattern. Then there are the matching questions. So you'll see two sets of options to associate, and more answers than prompts to prevent elimination. If you select to add multiple choice or multiple answer question type, the students will be able to, or you can create it selecting one or more correct answers from several choices, and at least two answer choices are required. If you like using true and false questions, you choose either those options, and they are limited to the words true and false. Is not the option to change. If you want to change those words, my recommendation will be to use a multiple choice question type and add those with two correct or with two options available. And the hotspot question, and is really great, and I have seen great uses of this question type. Present an image without answer options, and you can mark a certain area of the image to represent options for the students to select from. There's also always the option to turn these questions into extra credit questions. So it's not an single question type, it is an option through these questions. So you can assign one or more questions as extra credit. Correct answer adds points to assessment scores, and there is no penalty for incorrect answers. Students and learners can identify and filter extra credit questions through the test. And there are some specific considerations for creating these test questions. So make sure that you review the order of questions and answers. You'll be able to randomize order of answers in multiple choice and multiple answer questions, and randomize questions for varied assignment and test. You can also add page within test, and then you can randomize those pages if you want a specific set of questions to go together within a page. Then you have also question pools within Blackboard Ultra. For us, that purpose is to ensure that each learner receives a different set of questions related to course objectives, and questions are randomly chosen each time to the test is taken. That means to different students or even to the same student in different attempts. You can create a question pool that will be collecting questions from selected tests and banks, or you can specify the number of questions to display. Within the question pools, point value is assigned after adding the question pool to the assessment, and that point value will apply to each question in the pool. Separate point value for individual question is not possible. So when you are adding a question pool through the plus icon in your test, you'll see the option to add a question pool, and that will be like a package of questions, and they all will have the same point value. In these options, or when you're using question pools, instructors cannot add or remove questions from a pool or delete a pool after learners open an assessment or make submissions. And instructors can edit and regrade questions when learner submission exists. For you to create question banks to be used as question pools or also to reuse questions through test, you'll see that option under the details and actions menu. That is this one that is on the right hand side of your screen in the content area of your course. Last option usually is question banks. If you click on manage banks, you'll see your question banks area where you can start adding those. You'll find the plus icon on the area at the top of the panel. And there, if you open that option, you can create new question bank that will be from scratch, adding questions one by one. You can auto-generate the question bank through the AI design assistant, or you can import question bank if you have the specific file with the questions that apply to the ultra question types, and you can just select it and upload it. Remember that you can also copy question banks through the copy content process that is covered on the content webinar. Then, after you have added questions through your test using the plus icon within the test content area, you can jump and check the assessment settings. This is pretty much what we talk about under assignments. You'll have the gear icon or the quick access on the right panel for your test. But you'll find some specific assessment settings that apply just for test. And that will be presentation options for feedback release that you'll find on a specific area there. Usually those are not available for assignments. It's just for tests with questions. So you can display one question at a time or prohibit backtracking, randomize questions, randomize answers, and pages. You can also define the type of feedback where you'll have four options to show to your students. If you want to show the submission that the student just sent, automated question feedback, if you have added automatic feedback to your questions in the test. Also, the question scores, if you want to show that to students and when, right away they submit on a specific date or after every attempt have been graded. And the last option, that is the only one that is disabled by default, is if you want to show correct answers to your students. Then you'll find also the assessment security options where you can create access codes or IP restrictions, even time limit to students. And those are the only settings that will apply just for tests. Every other setting that we talk about under assignments is available also here, and you'll find it every time you open the gear icon. Remember that you can also print tests. You'll find the same printing option on the content area for test. You can print them also with question pools, and an answer key and test on the same document could be included. With that, you can print it or also save our PDF into your local device. What's also available for test? Remember that when I show you the assignment layout, we talk about three tabs. So test will have the same three tabs and an extra tab that will be called question analysis report. You can access this report also from several places in your course. That could be the tab within each test, from the analytics tab on your course top menu, from the three dot menu next to the item in the gradable items page in your gradebook, or from the three dots next to the item in the content outline. So I am sure that you'll find it. The purpose of the question analysis report is to review the quality of assessment questions. With that, you can also improve assessments from one term to the next, because it's going to provide statistics on overall performance, assessment quality, and individual questions. This is usually reviewed after your whole class has submitted responses to your test. You'll see a test summary with key data as average score, possible questions, completed attempts, even average time spent in the test, and two main metrics: discrimination and difficulty. This helps identify poor discriminators of learner performance. Also, it is applicable for assessment with questions only. That's why this is included into the test item, just when you create tests with questions. And there is the option to download the report with raw question data, if that's something that could be useful for you offline. How we have seen that instructors use question analysis report, I have seen it and our team have seen it, that improve questions for future assessment or even adjust credit on current attempts. Also, instructors could be able to discuss assessment result with the class and show this report and work together on that. Provide a basis for remedial work, identifying if this is something that, or a specific module or assessment that really need a remedial work, and can also improve classroom instruction. I will add that I have used it personally to add that or to edit the timer. If I'm using a timer in the test based on the average time spent, maybe they are needing a little bit more time there, a couple of minutes there to finish, or I'm allowing enough time for them to work there. And our last topic here for this session, it is accommodations. And this is important because maybe through an institutional process or with a short conversation with your students, you can identify the specific students that will need accommodation within your course. And these settings are course level settings. So this is not something that your system admin will set for students. This is something that you will go through in your own course. Accommodations could be found on the roster, and this is included also on the details and actions menu on the right side of your course. There you'll see not only two views if you want to see cards or the list of your students. Within both views, you'll be able to see the three dot menu for each student where you can check not only the member information but the accommodations. If you click there, the accommodations panel will be open and you'll be able to set two types of accommodation. If they need the due date accommodation, their work never mark late and they can continue um, presenting or submitting their work even after the due date and they don't receive this red label identifying that submission as late. And the second option for accommodation will be time limit accommodation. In that case, extra time for timer assessment, that means just when you have added a timer into an assessment, that extra time could be added. You can specify a percentage of that extra time or set it as unlimited time. Accommodations can be set at the learner level from three locations in the Blackboard environment. This one that I'm showing, that will be the roster, mm, and you'll find the three dot menu that I just showed. You can also use the icon next to the learner's name, and that will appear in various areas in the course. And this is something important, and is that learners will not see this icon or they don't see that they are identified as a student with accommodation. You can track those students because a purple flag is added near to their name in the gradebook, in the roster, in different places in the course. That's something they don't see, and also other colleagues in the class won't be able to see the purple flag identifying students with accommodations. You can track that in different places, and with that you identify that you have added those accommodations. With that you're ready, actually you can go ahead and create your tests, add assignments, and rethink the way you are assessing your students. Remember that you can also copy those assessments from previous courses using the copy option that is covered in the content session of these webinars. We have available for you in Blackboard this exemplary course themes and rubric where you can check or you can use it to evaluate your course design with four categories for you to evaluate: course design with items and the way it's structured, interaction and collaboration items for students to use, the assessments that we covered today and how you're using it through your course, and also the learner support options or channels that you add to your course. I encourage you to use it, check it, and maybe edit a couple of things in your course to make sure that you are um, checking your course for exemplary level. You can find it through the community. If that's something you want, that's available there for you. And it's also a good opportunity to invite you to be part of our anthology community, where you'll find different options available to meet and exchange ideas and best practices with colleagues around the world. You'll find community programs. You can submit product feedback if there's a specific feature that you think that is missing in Ultra, and other colleagues from different institutions can vote for your ideas. You'll find areas to ask questions and also great user groups where you can learn also from other colleagues in other institutions that have gone through this process and that are really successful using Ultra today. You'll find different Blackboard resources through the mini site where you access to this recording, and also you can check on other on-demand videos or register for the webinars, live webinars. Thank you so much for your time. I hope that these were helpful for you, and I wish you the best on these Ultra uh, courses in your Blackboard instance. Thank you so much.